The Galactic Assembly convened on Zurich 9, a station where treaties were signed, threats exchanged, and wars averted. Every species entered armed. Plasma rifles, sonic disruptors, and bio-encoded blades gleamed under the artificial lights. Weapons weren't just expected, they were a requirement. To walk in unarmed was to declare surrender. And yet, the humans entered empty-handed. Their leader, Elias Voss, strode in with the confidence of a man who knew something the rest did not. At his side, Sergeant Nia Carter and a small delegation followed, relaxed, unburdened by the weight of armaments. The room fell into a stunned hush. From the Vorik delegation, a guttural snarl. High Warlord Grelk, a towering brute clad in ceremonial warplate, leaned forward, his voice like grinding metal. "You dare step into this hall with no weapons?" Elias met his gaze, unflinching. "Why would we need them?" A murmur spread across the chamber. The Vorik weren't the only ones watching. The Thoraxi, a chitinous insectid species, clacked their mandibles in agitation. The Othari, psionic beings draped in ethereal robes, whispered among themselves. A Thoraxi captain spoke, his voice layered with subharmonics designed to induce fear. "No species enters unarmed unless they are conquered or fools. Which are you?" Elias only smiled. "Neither." The Vorik warlord slammed a clawed fist onto the table. "Then explain yourself, human. Why do you refuse to carry weapons? Do you mock us? Do you seek death?" The murmurs grew louder. Aliens had seen humanity fight before. They knew humans could kill. And yet, here they stood, unarmed in a hall of warriors. Elias exhaled, slow and measured. "Then," he said it, "if we needed weapons, you'd already be dead." Silence. The weight of his words settled like a storm cloud. Some scoffed. Others, like the Othari, stiffened as if they had glimpsed something they didn't understand. Grelk bared his fangs in a cruel grin. "Bold words. But words do not stop blades. Words do not halt death." His gaze flicked to his guards. A silent command. A Vorik warrior stepped forward. His movement was deliberate, muscles tensed beneath his armor. His hand dropped to his holster. A challenge. A test. Elias didn't move. The Vorik drew his weapon. A flicker, too fast for the eye. The next moment, the Vorik's arm was twisted behind his back, his own weapon pressed against his skull. His breathing was ragged. Sergeant Nia Carter stood behind him, grip firm, expression unreadable. No one had seen her move. The Vorik snarled in frustration, struggling, but Carter held firm. With a casual motion, she released him, and he stumbled forward, humiliated. The Othari delegation whispered among themselves. This was not normal. Not natural. Grelk's amusement vanished. He stood, towering over Elias, his plasma blade igniting with a crackling hum. "Then let's see if your arrogance can match steel." He swung, a downward arc meant to split a lesser being in two. Elias shifted. Not a step. Not a dodge. Just a fraction of movement, and the blade missed entirely. The Vorik's eyes widened. He swung again. Left, right, a feint. Each time, the human evaded with an ease that was unnerving. He was not dodging. It was as if he already knew where the blade would land. The warlord's breath grew heavy. His swings turned erratic. Elias finally spoke. "This is why we don't carry weapons." Grelk took a step back. He was afraid. And the rest of the chamber knew it. The humans did not need weapons. They were the weapon. The Vorik warlord sat rigid, his hands clenched into fists. Around the chamber, other species eyed the humans with something unfamiliar, hesitation. The Vorik were one of the most physically dominant species in the galaxy, yet their leader had been made to hesitate by an unarmed man. The Othari, ever watchful, spoke first. "This is unnatural," their representative murmured, voice reverberating like an echo through still water. "No species reacts with such precision. No species predicts battle like this." A Thoraxi commander scoffed, his mandibles clicking. "Tricks. Reflexes. They are fast, yes. but nothing beyond comprehension. Elias Voss turned to him, expression calm. Are you certain? The thoraxi clicked again, a gesture of skepticism. Elias gestured subtly, and Sergeant Carter took a single step forward. The thoraxi's antennae twitched. He flared his wings slightly, a subconscious defensive response. Carter's gaze locked onto him, expression unreadable. No hostility. No tension. Just focus. The thoraxi's breathing changed. Something was wrong. His exoskeleton felt tight. His mind screamed at him to move, but his muscles refused. Every predator's instinct he had told him one thing: he was prey. A sharp chime broke the moment. The Otherite delegate exhaled slowly. That sensation. It is real. I have seen it before. In apex species. In hunters that roam death worlds. But you, humans, are not predators of the wild. You are something else. The thoraxi commander pulled back, shaking off the feeling. His gaze hardened. A psychological trick. A minor psionic pressure. Elias smiled slightly. If that's what you want to believe. The Vorik warlord exhaled, slow and heavy. His blade was still in hand, but he no longer raised it. His eyes burned with frustration, but also restraint. A deep voice rumbled from the back of the chamber. Explain it, human. The speaker was a Kordath, a species of massive, four-armed beings who prided themselves on brute force. A warlike race, but not foolish. They watched. They learned. Elias folded his arms. Every species enters armed because you believe power comes from weapons. That without them, you are vulnerable. But weapons are tools. Replaceable. Predictable. The real power is something far more difficult to counter. The Vorik warlord sneered. And what is that? Control. The chamber fell silent. The ability to end a fight before it begins. The ability to make you hesitate. To make you doubt. You all carry weapons because without them, you feel exposed. Humans? We learned long ago that the deadliest thing in battle isn't the weapon, it's the one wielding it. The Otherite delegate's gaze darkened. That is why you do not carry arms. You do not need them. Elias inclined his head slightly. Exactly. The Vorik warlord's grip tightened on his hilt. But he did not raise it again. Because now, he was not certain if it would make a difference. The silence stretched between them, thick with something unspoken. The Vorik warlord's grip on his weapon loosened, but his gaze remained fixed on Elias. He wasn't convinced, not yet. You claim control is the greatest weapon, the warlord rumbled. But that is nothing without force to back it. Elias didn't respond immediately. Instead, he let the weight of the moment settle. Then he spoke. Force is easy. Any species can wield it. Any soldier can kill. But true power? True dominance? That comes from making sure the battle is won before the first strike is ever thrown. The thoraxi commander clicked his mandibles. You speak in riddles, human. Elias tilted his head. Do I? Sergeant Carter moved again, just slightly. A shift in posture, a repositioning of his stance. But it was deliberate. Measured. The Otherite delegate inhaled sharply. The Kordath warrior's fingers twitched. Even the Vorik warlord stiffened, though he tried to hide it. Their instincts recognized something. It wasn't magic. It wasn't technology. It was something older, something deeper. The understanding of combat on a level they had never encountered before. Elias let them sit with it. You assume that because we are unarmed, we lack strength. That we are vulnerable. He looked at each of them in turn. But vulnerability is an illusion. You feel it now, don't you? That itch at the base of your skull? That doubt? The Vorik warlord's jaw tightened. A trick, he growled. Nothing more. Elias smiled. You can tell yourself that if it makes you feel better. The thoraxi's wings fluttered in agitation. The Otherite delegate's glowing eyes dimmed in contemplation. Then the Kordath warrior, silent until now, stood. His four massive arms flexed, his deep voice like a distant avalanche. I have fought many wars. I have faced beasts that tear through steel and armies that burn worlds. But never have I felt this. He paused. This weight. This certainty that an enemy is watching my every move before I make it. He turned to Elias. This is not chance. It is not deception. It is something else. Something real. Elias nodded once. It's understanding. True warriors do not react, they act. Before the enemy knows they've already lost. The Vorik warlord's blade slipped fully back into its sheath. Not in surrender, but in recognition. You said? The warlord sat in silence. The others followed his lead, the weight of realization settling over them like a fog. No one moved. No one spoke. The humans had done nothing, yet everything had changed. The Vorik finally exhaled. This control, he said, slower this time, measured. It is not instinct alone. It is learned. Elias nodded. It is refined. The Otherite delegate's eyes narrowed. Then it can be countered. Elias smiled slightly. You can try. A flicker of frustration crossed the Otherite's face, but it was quickly buried. The Thoraxi commander clicked his mandibles again, but there was no derision this time. No scorn. You have no weapons, he said. But you are not unarmed. Sergeant Carter smirked, arms still relaxed at his sides. Now you get it. The Kordath warrior folded two of his massive arms. I have seen many battles. Conquered worlds. Crushed armies. But even I. He paused. Even I hesitated. His gaze locked onto Elias. That is power. The Vorik warlord's fingers drummed against the arm of his chair. A slow, steady rhythm. Then, without warning, he stood. Every delegate stiffened. But the warlord did not draw his blade. Instead, he looked at Elias, truly looked at him. Not as an opponent. Not as a lesser being. But as a threat. You are dangerous, human. Elias didn't blink. We know. The warlord's tusks flared slightly. And you are patient. Also true. A pause. Then, to the shock of the chamber, the Vorik did something unheard of. He nodded. Not in defeat. But in acknowledgement. Then let us not be enemies. The other delegates glanced at one another, uncertain. But they had all felt it. That pressure. That awareness. They understood now. The warlord turned, stepping toward the exit. But before he left, he glanced over his shoulder. If all humans are like you. His eyes darkened. Then the galaxy will have to reconsider everything. And then, he was gone. Silence lingered. Sergeant Carter exhaled through his nose. That went well. Elias chuckled. Told you we wouldn't need weapons.